Hello, I'm David D. Cosmo, and this is Preview, a public affairs presentation of Electric City Television. We continue to broadcast from our home, our guests joining us by way of a computer video link. And our guest today is Bernie McGurl, who is Executive Director of the Lackawanna River Conservation Association. Bernie, first thing, normally at this time of the year, we would be talking to you in studio about all the gala activities that were planned for Riverfest. I'm assuming that Riverfest is fallen victim to the virus.
As most of our social and community life in the United States and across the world, it's we're dead in the water. But the river's still flowing, so we still have a lot of work to do.
And will you be thinking about rescheduling then, or just letting it go for this season?
No, we're pretty persistent. We are rescheduled right now for September 26th, Saturday, September 26th. And we're talking to a couple other organizations about maybe combining several events and having it'll be different than our usual springtime Riverfest. We don't know if the river will be navigable at that time of year. Sometimes July, August, September. If we have a dry summer, there's water in the river, but it's not deep enough to paddle the whole course of our regular paddle event from the Mid-Valley down to Scranton. So we may conduct a modified version of that on that day. We're definitely going to have the duck race and possibly also the regatta, get people to dress themselves up, and we'll have a boat parade down the river from, there's a small beach just about 1,000 feet upstream. So we're thinking of launching up there for the regatta. But we'll have music and artists and vendors and craftspeople and lots of great food, hopefully, if the social distancing conditions will allow. Looks like we may be able to go into condition yellow later in May in Pennsylvania or in the first part of June. And where those conditions would allow small assemblies, but I don't think we can get the entire event conducted if they're still in that condition in the fall. So we're looking at needing to have the condition green to have this event in the fall. Meantime, David, there's a lot that folks can do in the coming weeks when we do go to condition yellow. We have a lot of need for volunteers to help us conduct stewardship activities along the river, picking up litter, and along the trails that line the Lackawanna River. We're going to be partnering with Lackawanna Heritage Valley Authority, and we're going to try to organize and get what volunteers can come out to work in individually in small groups to do litter pickup and brush trimming and lawn mowing. We have a lot of grass that needs to get cut on some of our sites. So we're looking to mobilize volunteers, and we also have some new sites that we can talk about. That we have a new property that we've acquired in Old Forge and another new property right along the river in Scranton, and we're going to be turning those two properties over the next few years into river access sites. So I can tell you a little bit more about them as well.
Yeah, that sounds pretty interesting. I do want to focus for just a moment on the fact that you're using this downtime, if I can phrase it that way, for kind of an interesting project when it comes to cleanup.
Yeah, Dave, we are conducting a pandemic street sweeping contest.
Now, this is a contest.
Yes, it's a contest, and we don't have it. It should we'll have the rules and everything up on our Facebook page and our website by the time this program is broadcast in the next week or two. But so just check our Facebook page and website and look for Pandemic Street Sweeping Contest. We'll be getting a press release out later this week in the local media as well. So what it is there's more and more needs for folks to get involved in the stewardship of water as it flows through our lives. And the municipalities all now have to get permits for their stormwater systems. And this is where individual citizens can help out their borough, their township, the city, by assisting the Public Works Department by cleaning the street in front of their own house. We often have leaf litter from last year's trees that dropped their leaves. We have thoughtless litter from people driving up the street that throw out a plastic water bottle or a coffee cup or a cigarette butt or things of that nature. And we have anti-skid cinders and gravel and de-icing chemicals that are put down by the Public Works in the wintertime to melt the snow and give people traction. We didn't have a heavy winter this year, so there's not a lot of anti-skid out there, but there's still some. But a lot of leaf litter from previous years. A lot of our Public Works departments are understaffed, and right now the priority is not necessarily getting the streets cleaned in front of everyone's home. So as a way to help, clean streets mean clean creeks and a clean river. We'd like to challenge everybody to get out and measure the space in front of your house out to the middle of the street. Get your broom, get your shovel, get your rake, get your trash bag. But first, get your camera. Take a picture of it. We want to see a before picture. We want to see a picture of everything you've cleaned up and raked up. 1 container, 2 container, either a large trash bag or a trash can or a bushel basket or what have you. Take a picture of what you cleaned up, and then take an after picture. Maybe get your garden hose out after you've done. Actually, get your garden hose out or get a watering can and wet the area so you're not kicking up a lot of dust with your broom as you're sweeping. You don't want to be breathing that dust. So get it all swept up. Give us an idea of your total weight of what you've swept up. The dimensions of the roadway in front of your home, a lot of people in the cities and boroughs might just have a 40-foot wide lot, but other people might have a 100-foot wide or an 80-foot, and maybe somebody's got a double lot. Maybe you live on a corner, and if you want, we can you can register for both sides and double your chances of winning. And we also want to see what you picked up. Just give us an estimate of, okay, it was 25% anti-skid material. It was 50% of leaf litter, and then maybe 20% of other litter. And then maybe you found something completely different. Our rules are sort of Monty Python-esque, if you will, give people a little bit of humor in this trying time. So we're looking at anybody find a dead parrot. If you find a dead parrot or maybe a Captain Marvel, a decoder ring, anything of that nature, there's all kinds of stuff out there. You can let us know about that as well. So we basically we'll just have a form, or you can just provide us with that information. Email us your photographs, or send them in on Messenger or Instagram, and we're going to assign, as people get their entries into us, everyone will get a number. And at the end of the contest, which will be the first week in June, we're going to put all those numbers in a hat, and we'll pick winning numbers. Now, you might not, we're not looking for to award a prize, first prize, second prize, third prize for the amount, like hundreds of pounds and thousands of tons of material that you pick up. Everybody's going to get a fair chance, get a number, and then we'll pick the winners out of a hat by pulling a number. Now, if you did honestly enter the weight of the material that you pick, or your best approximation for it, let us know that as well. We'd like to get a total amount of weight that we get picked up off the streets across the region. So everyone in listening area is eligible to join us. We're focused mostly on the Lackawanna watershed, so anybody from Pittston and Duryea up through Wolf Forge and Moosic and Scranton Dunmore, the Mid-Valley, Troop Oliphant, Archibald, Carbondale, Dixon City, Forest City, up in the Abingtons, Clark Summit, Clark's Green, and out in the North Pocono, Moscow, Covington, Daleville, Roaringbrook, Springbrook, Madison, Jefferson. That's our main focus. But if you're listening to this and you're in Laughlin or Dallas or West Pittston, give it a shot, and we'll put you in the mix. We'd like to, we're going to give out a cash prize. There'll be a $100 cash prize for the winner. Two $50 second and third prizes. And the winners also get their choice of a brand new broom or rake.
That's so. Actually, you have a project that has a threefold mission. Certainly, cleanup is one. Secondly, identifying materials, and thirdly, a bit of fun.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. And of course, isn't it kind of ironic that that Riverfest has to be postponed at a time when the river has just won an award?
Yeah, it's a tough one for us. We were designated the Pennsylvania River of the Year for 2020. It's a great honor. That was a statewide contest, and we got folks all over our region in the Scranton, Carbondale, Pittston area, and I'm sure folks in Wilkes-Barre and out in the Poconos that know Lackawanna heard about it and voted for us, and up in the Endless Mountains as well. So we got over 8,000 votes from our region, and we were the top voted river in the statewide contest this year. We were up against the Ohio River out in the Pittsburgh area, Brandywine Creek down in the Philadelphia area, and the Connequotensing Creek out in northern Allegheny area, and they were our big rivals. So we managed to win. But Dave, the river is out there, and if I know folks are getting out and walking the trails and enjoying a run along the river, you can keep your social distance. If you want to get out right in your neighborhood, you don't have to drive too far to enjoy a little bit of riverfront water. You can hear the water, see the ducks, you can see the geese, and you can enjoy a walk or a stroll or a run along parts of the Lackawanna River where the Heritage Trail has been completed. There's other sections of the river that are accessible if you're a little bit more adventurous. The D&H Trail, the northern part of the Heritage Valley, from Carbondale up through Forest City and Uniondale and on out into the northern part of Susquehanna and Wayne County. It is beautiful up there. We have 40 miles of the D&H Trail that runs from Carbondale up to Lanesboro, and there are large sections of it that have recently been improved, especially in the Forest City, Uniondale, and Carbondale, Simpson areas. So it runs right along the Lackawanna River, so folks can get out there on the trails. Now, the river is running really good this week. We had that big storm last week. It didn't quite flood. We were lucky. We were very lucky. But with all the rain, we've had a very wet spring. Our traditional Riverfest Day this coming Saturday, May 9th, Mother's Day weekend, the river is going to be really nice, but the weather doesn't seem to be that bad or that good this coming weekend. So it's going to be a rainy, cold day, and that would have probably cut into our attendance. But if folks want to get out and paddle the Lackawanna River, there are areas where people have traditionally launched. Right now, the Blakely Recreation Park is closed. The borough has it closed because there's more concentrated area of that park where people can get too close together. So they have the park closed. But there are other spots in the Mid Valley that you can launch a canoe or a kayak. Sweeney's Beach is open down in Scranton if you want to use that as a pull-out location. So people can get out and paddle the river. The key about having a good time on paddling the river, number one, if you know what you're doing, if you've paddled on a river before, if you've done whitewater, if you paddle the Lehigh, if you paddle the Tunkhannock, the Lackawanna has a lot of the similar characteristics. It's a steep whitewater stream. There are ledges and rocks and riffles, and it's narrow in some cases. You get swept to one side or the other as the current has a deeper channel meandering. So you need to watch out for stuff like that. But if you're an experienced paddler, you've been out there, or you've got some friends that are, and you want to get out with 2 or 3 friends, it's a great opportunity to do so this time of year. If you look at the LRCA website, lrca.org, click on our watershed page and then look for the river conditions. Click on river conditions, and that'll take you directly to the USGS gauge stations on the Lackawanna River. And I like to use the Archibald gauge as my gauge for, hey, is the river is going to be fun to paddle today, or am I going to get stuck on the rocks, or I'm going to get swept over a ledge and turned upside down and drowned. So that'll tell you how deep the river is, how fast it's moving, how much water's out there. And if the bottom threshold for a good paddle is about 2.4 to 2.6 feet on the Archibald gauge. If it's lower than 2.4 feet, you're going to be scraping off your bottom on a lot of rocks. If you're above 2.6 feet up to 3.2 to 3.6 feet, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's not too fast. You can handle it if you've got good paddling ability and good upper body strength to steer your way away from getting swept into the side where there's strainers. You can have a great time between 2.6 and 3.6 feet. Above 3.6 feet, you really need to know what you're doing up to about 5 feet. From 5 feet up, you're starting to get into the heavier flood stages, and I would not recommend anybody go out there at those levels unless you're a real suicidal adventurist.
Well, Bernie, one measurement of river quality is life in the river, and is the Lackawanna at this stage a very fishable river?
David, one of the most outstanding fisheries for native brown trout in the East Coast. We have, I'm going to put my hands up on screen here. There's some big fish out there, and there's catch and release recommendations. So we keep those big fish in there. They're healthy. They're reproducing. There's actually fish that are in this river that were born in this river. They spent their whole life in this river. It's their river. And they grow to be 24 to 28 to 30 inches. I mean, these are big fish. They're 3, 4, 5 pound trout. And the older ones, they have that long hook on their jaw, and they look like a salmon. The trout is related to the salmon. So they're beautiful animals, and there's lots of them out there. The area between the 8th Street Bridge in Carbondale and the Greenridge Street Bridge in Scranton is designated trophy trout waters, and there's special rules. You can only take one fish a day, but really everyone encourages you to just do catch and release. The river is extremely popular with people that like to do fly fishing rather than spinning and casting, which is more common on the Susquehanna for bass and warm water fish. This is a cold water fishery. It is a real treasure for northeastern Pennsylvania. and it actually attracts fishermen and fisherwomen, anglers from all over the East Coast. And folks will travel here. They'll make a day trip to come up and fish the Lackawanna. So there's plenty of opportunities, plenty of places to access the river. And down through Scranton into Taylor and Old Forge and Moosic, the river is also supporting that kind of a trout fishery. There are great fishing opportunities down there. It's not designated as a Class A fishery yet, but we're working with the Lackawanna Valley chapter of Trout Unlimited in the Pennsylvania Fish Commission. There have been additional fishery biologist studies that are demonstrating that the river does meet the criteria to be a Class A fishery.
Bernie, what about the two additional sites that you mentioned? I know you've been working on one for a while, but the other, I believe, had been a Superfund site.
It's in Old Forge. It's at just off Bridge Street, across from Lonesome Road in Old Forge.
And there was a lot of federal money then put in to get that cleaned up.
Oh, yeah, it was a mess. There was a remnant of an old coal company boiler house where they made electricity for the coal mines. And all that was removed. And they probably spent $40 or $50 million cleaning it up back in the 1980s. So it's just green space right now. We're going to keep it as green space, and we'll be working with the borough and with other agencies and with EPA and DEP to develop a restoration plan for the property so we can get the section of the Lackawanna Heritage Trail will run through there, and we're also looking to create a parking lot there for the trailhead for people who want to use the trail. And there's a huge gravel bar along the Lackawanna River there. It's about 10 times the size of Sweeney's Beach. It's a great place to get in and out of the river, and you're right at the top of where the river really takes a dive down into Duryea. There's huge rock ledges and formations down there, and it's about a half mile upstream from the Old Forge borehole where the river turns orange with mine water. So it's all part of our long-term plan. We're focusing now on the area between Scranton and Pittston, figuring out in partnership with the municipalities down there and the property owners and the Heritage Authority, how we can get the Lackawanna Trail and Greenway system linked down into Pittston to link with the trail system in Luzerne County and the Delaware and Lehigh Trail system on down into the Lehigh Valley and along the Delaware down to the Philadelphia region. And then there's the Warrior Trail that runs down the Susquehanna Valley towards Berwick and Bloomsburg. So there's some big trail connections down through Luzerne County and the Wyoming Valley, and it's an important area for the entire region, economically and environmentally.
Well, it sounds like in spite of the pandemic, an awful lot going on and really a lot of positive news when it comes to the Lackawanna River. So we'll keep watching to see when things open up again and people can really enjoy the river and the trails to their fullest. Bernie, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Dave. My pleasure. And folks could always check out our website, www.lrca.org, for the latest opportunities on volunteering and joining us in our work. And we've also got a Facebook site, so encourage folks to visit them and stay in touch.
Great. Thank you, Bernie. Take care now.
You're welcome, David. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you again, Bernie, and thank you for joining us on Preview on Electric City Television. I'm David DeCosmo. Till we see you again next time, here's hoping all your news is good.